for camp this year too. So I think we should get started. So great to see all of you. Rabbi Hannah Wallick. I say you can call me Hannah, except for one camper who calls me Mom. And she's been at camp for 2 years and she's loved it. And she's mostly excited, a little bit nervous to come back with me in this role. I'm the camp director, and I just could not be more excited for this summer. We have an amazing staff, exciting ideas. I'm actually at camp right now, and it looks wonderful, and it's just waiting for you all to get here. And now I'll let Rachel and Kevin introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rachel Ruskin. I'm the Associate Director of CYJ Midwest. It's so fun to see familiar faces who we saw at previous virtual open houses and names that I know from camp last summer. And we're looking forward to another really fun summer at CYJ Midwest.
Hey, everybody. This is Kevin Friduss, Marketing Communications Manager at CYJ. If you have not heard from me, then no, that's impossible. You've definitely heard from me via email regarding forms or tuition or something like that. This will be my 5th summer at camp, and really looking forward to getting up there and seeing all your kids' smiling faces at some point.
So we have a presentation planned, but at the end of it, feel free to ask any and all questions you have, and also feel free to pop your questions in the chat and one of us will respond to you. Can everybody see that okay? Oops. Oh, not on this call is Andrew Damel. He's all the way to the right. He's our maintenance director, and he is amazing. And I just want to credit him with how beautiful and ready for you all camp looks right now, even though we're not opening for another 6 weeks. All right. So hopefully all the kiddos on this call are super excited for summer. I know we are counting down. We can't wait till you're here at camp. But just a reminder, we hope that all campers are excited and ready to go to camp this summer and know what that means. You know, it's been a weird few years. As I said, I'm a parent also. And, you know, I have an older kid, and like before the past few years, there were sleepovers all the time, but you know, things have been just different in the past few years. And so just a sleepover is a good way to get ready for camp. You know, just make sure you guys have a little bit of practice being away from home. Get the packing list. I always print it out. My kids are always really excited for going shopping for camp. I don't know why, but you know, we go to Target and we check on down the list, and they love to pick out their shampoo and body wash and, you know, whatever else. So that's kind of like sometimes the getting ready for camp isn't as fun as camp itself, but it's definitely part of the process. And just a reminder that we're having a summer kickoff party. We're having one in Chicago. We're having one in Detroit. We're having one in Pittsburgh. So if you are near any of those communities, please, that's a great way to get to know some of the other campers so that when you get to camp, you'll see a familiar face. And now I hand it over to Kevin to talk to you about camp reforms.
Well, thank you, Hannah. All right. Camp reforms. Yes. I'm just going to open up my presentation or your presentation so I can see it easier. But hopefully everyone has already uploaded most of their camp reforms. All camp reforms are due on May 5th. And after that date, there's a $50 penalty fee for any forms that are not due. The only exemption of that are forms that are the physical form or the health history form. Those two are due 30 days before your session starts. So I want to say May 22nd for the June date, and then June 19th is the due date for the other, for the second session. So those are the two forms that are due 30 days before. There's one other form that you'll see in there. It's the 24-hour COVID form. That's the COVID test that you will take 24 hours before camp starts. And that form we need, obviously 24 hours. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Just wanted to say something about the forms. There's two other forms that we have. One of them is, they're optional forms. One of them is a therapy mitzvah scheduling form. If your child does any therapy with an outside, like a counselor, and they want to do like a therapy session at camp, we can make that work. If they want to do it, if your child has a mitzvah coming up right after camp, then we can schedule a tutor. We also can do tutoring sessions at camp, but we can also schedule your outside tutor to actually be in like a virtual, we can, have like a virtual room where they can do a tutoring session. And then the second optional form on there that I wanted to mention was the swim lessons form. This is an optional form. It's an option if your child wants to do swim lessons. They'll also have an option to sign up at camp, but this is just a gauging interest sort of form that we have on the Camp in Touch. So feel free to fill that out.
Kevin, I'm just going to add something about
Sure.
swim lessons. So we listened to parent feedback, and that was feedback that we heard from camp parents that they would like their kids to have the opportunity to have swimming lessons at camp. And so we've added that in this year for families to opt into. So just wanted to also say, if you have other feedback, we always welcome that.
Okay, so next, register with PacMyRx and double check your health history form. All medication has to go through PacMyRx. The PacMyRx, they handle all prescription medicine, any over-the-counter medicine that a kid may take as needed, and then also any vitamins. So everything, if your child takes any of those things, and needs to go through PacMyRx, check your camper's health history form to make sure that the medication that is sent into PacMyRx is also on that health history form. They have to match up, and that's the only way that they will be administered. And then again, if your child has a special diet or medical issue, just make sure that that's also marked on the health history form. The PacMyRx has when it's 30 days from camp, there's a late fee that is incurred. That's through the pharmacy. Anything that does not go to PacMyRx will be, you'll incur an $85 processing fee per camper that goes to camp. The only exclusion to that is that if there's been some issues where some states will not fulfill certain prescriptions because the pharmacy is based in Florida. So apply to PacMyRx. If PacMyRx says to you that they will not accept this prescription or this over-the-counter or this vitamin, then just let us know, and then you're excluded from that $85 processing fee. Should I do the next slide, Hannah, about COVID?
Yep, you can do that
Okay.
slide. Just make sure you can see on the slide, everyone, but if your camper has some kind of special diet or medical issue, please let us know. Our kitchen staff is equipped to handle, meals for different diets. So just, let us know, and we'll make sure all of that is prepared for them.
All right, so COVID, we are still doing some testing, which is on these slides. Just go through it, but 48 hours before your session, it is not required by any means, but we highly recommend doing a rapid test at home. This will reduce any likelihood of a test 24 hours before camp, because if you do test positive 24 hours before camp, you will not be able to arrive on time at camp. If a camper tests positive 24 hours before camp, you will need to take them home for 5 days. On the 6th day, if they're symptom free and have a negative test, then you can bring them to camp. And all of this information is in the parent camper manual, which we can put in the chat. So I'm not going to go too deep into it, but if you have any questions, just let us know about testing. In other years, we've had to do testing at the actual bus stop before your kids got on the plane. That is not the case, where it's 24 hours before camp. Do a rapid test at home, and then you will upload it to the 24-hour form in your Camp and Touch account. We're not accepting email results. It has to be uploaded to your Camp and Touch account. And then during camp, while camp is in session, if a camper shows any relevant symptoms, they'll be tested for COVID-19. And if they are positive, their parents will be notified. And it's our intention to keep those that are testing positive at camp if they have COVID. If you have questions about that, let us know. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, Hannah, you can take it to packing.
Sure. And I just want to mention, if you do end up with a positive COVID test on a rapid, we'll be in touch, we'll work it out together. I mean, these are the parameters, but just let us know. And we'll just, be in communication about that. And of course, if your kid has COVID at camp, there are lots of permutations. For all we know, the whole bunk could have it, but, we'll just be in constant communication with you about that. Okay, so a little bit about packing. I hope it's a fun experience. Label your kids' clothing. Sometimes there are mistakes when the laundry is returned. The whole bunk's laundry comes back in separate laundry bags, but sometimes someone gets somebody else's shirt, so it's always great when things are labeled. I just buy a stamp. Sometimes those labels that you iron in can come out. So I have a stamp. Actually, I'm so cheap. I put both my kids' first names and their last name on the same stamp. And then I make them use, Matanya L. Steigman stamp together. Shower caddy. Just so you all know, if you don't know this, that there are bathrooms in the bunks, showers in the bunks. So your kids are not bringing their supplies to a bathhouse, but it's just nice for them to organize their supplies in a shower caddy because, that there's like single stalls with a curtain. And so, they'll go in, have their turn, come out, somebody else will have their turn. They can bring all of their supplies in that way. Some campers have battery powered fans if that's, something you think your kid will need. If your kid is a first session kid, this is Wisconsin, they may not need a fan, but like we're mainly talking about like as the summer goes on, please feel free to send that. It's kind of old school, so please feel free to send. You could see, playing cards, Mad Libs. We have a lot of art supplies at camps, but if your camper likes to do like string bracelets or, some kind of special art supply, please feel free to send that. Jacks, I think one of the great things about camp is it's a pretty low tech environment. Although don't tell campers, close your ears. We have fiber optic internet here. I mean, you can always get in touch with us, but at the camper level, it's pretty low tech. If your camper likes to listen to music, there are like an iPod Shuffle or like an MP3 player that doesn't need to connect to the internet is a good way to provide that music. And then if anybody, like if you're flying and you don't want your camper to carry tons of luggage with them, we are contracting with ship camps. And then just like for a fee, you can pack your duffel, they'll pick it up at your house and it'll magically arrive a few days before your kid gets to camp. So that's just, a convenience if you would like to go that route.
I just want to add in that I just added the ship camps link to the chat. If you're interested in doing that. Just as an example, it's probably not worth it to ship from the Chicago area. If you ship from the Chicago area, it's about $75. If you ship it from Pittsburgh, it's about $99. So a little bit more worth it for that. It's totally optional. You do not have to do it by any means, because that's been a common question that I've gotten. They saw it on their Camp in Touch account. Does this mean that I have to ship it this way? It does not. We have room on the buses, there's definitely no issue with space. So if it's a little bit easier though, and it definitely is, then feel free to use it.
Great, thank you. So we wear hats with brims here at camp. It helps with sun, it helps with dehydration. So, please make sure that that is one of the items packed with your camper, and water bottles, or, summer it's hot, big on drinking water, a lot of water bottle refilling throughout the day. Obviously sunscreen. I've been yelled at for sending lotion sunscreen and not sending spray of some kind. You can work that out in your family house, but I know campers like even spray lotion for some reason, things you can spray. A word about stationery and stamps. Campers are not used to sending letters. This is like, not 1990. So either, kind of go over with your camper. This is where the return address goes. This is where you put, the mailing address. I was really sad. My first visit to camp in November, I found some camper letters that they sent to family and friends that did not make their destination because the address was like all over the envelope. So, so just, either go over with your camper. I know some parents make like pre-addressed labels, whatever works for your family, so that your camper can send mail. It's just not something we're used to doing these days. We try and wear white on Shabbat. If your camper has like a white shirt, doesn't have to be like a whole white outfit. And also like really you don't need to buy new clothes for camp, unless you need more shorts or something for laundry. So, there's a lot of flexibility around that. It's not like, you can't have yummy Shabbat dinner if you're not wearing white or something. And then, just because we'll have Maccabiyah and, your kid will be on a different color team. So if you have some diversity of colors in your kid's wardrobe, think about sending that. But again, like, we don't require you have to like get special things for camp other than sunscreen. Label your camper's bags for sure. Laundry bags should have a label. Laundry sent out once a week. I think this is like one of the most awesome parts about camp. Parents, you'll appreciate laundry comes back magically washed and folded in neat little nice smelling piles. So I don't know, campers, you don't appreciate what a treat that is, but that is a treat. And then, just make sure to send extra sheets and towels. Those get washed too. But we have cabin cleanup every day. We try and make each cabin look really nice for Shabbat. And so part of looking nice is changing your sheets. So, to make sure that there's an extra set. And all that is also in the packing list. And now I will hand it over to Kevin for transportation.
Wonderful. All right. So all of this information that we will go through about transportation, and we will go through it very briefly because most of it is in the parent camper manual. So I definitely suggest going to the parent camper manual. There's an easy search tool at the top, and also everything is sectioned off. So when you look at the transportation section, you can see that it goes by car, by air, by bus, other information, and directions to camp. So your child's transportation ideally needed to be finalized by this past Friday, May 5th. If you have not finalized your plans yet, or if you need assistance finalizing plans, please let me know. We'll be sending out more detailed transportation information in the coming weeks once we have everybody's information all in. Campers who are taking the bus, we are leaving from North Shore Congregation Israel, and that is going to be some point, and we'll send out actual assignment timing by your last name, but the arrival will be between 8:30 and 9:30. The bus departure is going to be at 10. The bus this year is a little bit different. The majority of campers the majority of campers do leave from the Chicago area bus stop. If you are taking the bus there, we usually have done testing, like COVID testing in the past. We're not doing that anymore since we're doing it at home. So it'll be a little bit quicker of a turnaround between the time that you arrive on site and the bus leaves. Campers who are flying, you already mostly have this information, but we're using Midway. You can also fly into Appleton, which is 25 minutes from camp. The times are on there, 9 to 11 a.m. is the ideal timing from Midway. If it's earlier, that's okay. It really cannot be later though. And then 10 to 12 in Appleton. We will have CYJ staff at the airport. They will be in shirts. They'll be waiting for your campers at the gate. And again, there'll be more detailed instructions with the actual, you'll also be, if you are flying, you'll be part of a WhatsApp group and you'll find out who the chaperone is, who's actually picking up your child. And when they actually get there, you will be contacted the entire way, all the way to camp. And if your camper is being driven to camp, the address is in the parent camper manual, and the arrival time then is 2:45 to 3:45. So all of this is somewhat subject to change, but this is what we have as of now, and it's probably going to stick. And I just wanted to briefly say that if you are in the Chicago area, we are looking for volunteer chaperones for both sessions. So if your camper is session 1, we would love to maybe have you come and volunteer for session 2 if you're able to, either at an airport or at the bus stop in Glencoe. Next slide is communication. There is inside your Camp in Touch account where you fill out forms, where you can check financial information. All of the there's lots and lots of other options that are in there. You will find photos. We post photos a few times a week. It's not guaranteed daily. We do it as much as we can, but we post photos a few times a week, not on Shabbat. You can invite guests into your accounts, and they will be able to, we'll get to this part soon because you are able to send emails to your campers. Photos, you can add guests. Packages is always a big one. A few years ago, we stopped accepting packages. We no longer accept any packages. We only accept letters and flat envelopes. There is a long reason for this, and you can find that in the parent camper manual, the entire reason. If you have any questions about your Camp in Touch account during the summer, you can definitely email me, kevin@cyjmid.org, or call the office. But I also highly suggest we have a parent hotline that is really easy to call. They're almost always available. And that number is on the screen, and it's also in the parent camper manual. So it's a great number if you have an issue with a photo, or you're having an issue with buying camp stamps, something like that. Just wanted to mention though about the packages. If your child has a birthday during the summer, if your child has a birthday, you can send one package, and we can talk about that. If you have questions about that, just let me know. But that's the only time that the birthday that packages are accepted, is if their child has a birthday. In your Camp in Touch account, you'll find sending emails to your campers. Are the slides moving, Hannah? Because I can't actually see the photos.
I just moved the slide.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We definitely encourage you to write letters, actual postcards, letters to your campers. However, You can also send emails to your campers. Parents can send one email per day to their camper. And any email sent by 3 o'clock, Sunday through Friday, will be printed that day. You can receive emails from your campers. However, you have to pay for those. So when you see something on Camp in Touch called camp stamps, you can send emails for free, but to actually read them when they come back to you, that's what camp stamps are for. You're basically buying a camp stamp to get the return. So your camper has to use a camp stamp essentially to return the email for you to see it. So to receive emails from your campers, you would, it's very easy to do, but you just go to email on your Camp in Touch account. You click on the e-letter stack. You print off, you can print them off and send them with your camper, or you can buy them online once they're there. And then Camp scans all the letters at the end of each day, and parents will receive an email, a notification that the letter is waiting for them in their Camp in Touch account. If you have any questions about this, I can go through it with you. Like I can share my screen and I can show you. But I would also just say, if you have any questions about it, detailed questions, then call the camper parent hotline for a CamMinder. Next slide for communication. I'll mention the last bullet here first, which is the letter writing. It's a camper for campers. I think it's really fun to receive letter in the mail. I mean, email is fun too, but to actually receive a piece of mail in your bunk is really cool. And I very much suggest that you write a letter to your camper a week before camp starts, so that the letter is waiting for them at camp. There's something about, they get into their bunk, maybe they're a little bit nervous, maybe they're really excited, but they have this letter that's there from you on that first day. So I think that's a really cool thing. For camper alerts, I sort of mentioned this when I was talking about transportation. We do text reminders. You will be added to an easy texting list. It's by session. It's also a little bit by transportation. So session 1, bus parents. Session 2, bus parents. Noah Aleph bus on the way to camp only. Stuff like that. So you will be added to easy texting groups. About 2 weeks before camp, you'll start to receive transportation alerts. At one point, you'll receive an alert about adding guest accounts to your Camp in Touch. And then you'll also receive alerts about, buses arriving, buses leaving, buses arrived at camp. So we'll update you the entire way. And if your camper's flying, you'll be added to a specific WhatsApp group. If you do not have WhatsApp, I suggest that if you're able to download it so that we can create a WhatsApp group with all the parents that are on the Cincinnati flight or the Detroit flight, and then we can keep everybody in touch with the chaperone that is assigned to that flight. And again, if you have any questions about communication with your campers or texting, again, let me know. I was about to say my door is always open, but my email is always open. Hannah, I'm ready for you to move on to Account My Camp questions.
Okay. So I think we covered electronics. In terms of, if your camper is nervous or anxious for the summer, especially if it's their first time away from home for that long, I think that is a really natural, common feeling. I'm sure each of us could empathize with, doing something for the first time. And, that's that's okay to acknowledge that with your camper, because those feelings are real. And, it might take, a day or two for those feelings to subside, even after they get to camp, or maybe they'll get to camp and they'll run in and be having fun and forget about those feelings. I mean, it could go many directions. I want to mention that we have a wonderful director of community care. That's a somewhat recent position that's been added in the past few years. to really help campers make that transition to being part of a camp community. And her name is Catherine, and she's available, and I'm available. To really, depending on what level and when sort of the nerves subside, that we are available to be a support and also to communicate with you how things are going. Um, and then, just a reminder that the parent guide is on our website. It's, online and searchable. So Kevin maybe will pop the link in the chat. You've all probably seen it, but um, any questions that come up, check the parent guide, but also, you're always welcome to send an email to Kevin, Rachel, or myself, just to get a reminder. And when your camper gets to camp is when they find out what bunk they're in. We really try and honor requests for, each camper gets to request one bunk mate. Um, I I've really enjoyed meeting a lot of our incoming campers over the year, and I have to tell you, when I look at the bunk lists, every single bunk, I'm like, oh, what nice kids, like I just think about what wonderful kids are in each and every bunk, first and second session. And I'm just, I'm excited for all of those kids to gel and get to know each other and get to know their staff and be part of our camp community this summer. So just, make sure your forms are turned in. And if you have grandparents or guests that will also want access to the Camp in Touch, make sure their accounts are set up. As Kevin said, as camp gets closer, please go ahead and send a letter that will be waiting for your camper when they get there. And I think that is it for our official presentation part. Here are all the ways you can follow us on social media. And our office, I guess, opens on June 12th. Rachel and I will be here from the 1st of June onward. Actually, I'm actually at camp right now, but I will move here, June 1st and onward. But we're very accessible and reachable. And one thing that's nice about being a small camp is when you call our camp and you say who you are, we're like, oh, I know your child. I love your child. Let me go find your child for you. So it's we'll all know each other during the summer and beyond. Reminder about the summer kickoffs we talked about. And I think it's time for us to answer your questions now.
No question is too small. Anything you want to know?
All right. Well, if there are no questions, just, thank you so much for being part of our CYJ Midwest family. And we can't wait to get to know each and every one of these campers this summer, get to know your families better, and really to build a very special community this summer. We'll stay on for a few minutes in case anyone has any questions they didn't want to ask in front of the group, but this is recorded in case we need to pass that along. And it's so wonderful to see all of you tonight. Thank you.